So I did that video the other day comparing the Starlink router versus a third-party router to see which would give better range and internet speed. And that got me thinking a little bit, and I came up with the idea with this video right here. We're gonna be taking a look at an outdoor Wi-Fi access point. You know, a lot of you have larger properties, maybe you have a farm, maybe you just have a couple acre lot, and you might have an outbuilding, you might have a shed that you're trying to get a Wi-Fi signal to. And one of the common questions that I get on the blog and on the YouTube channel is, what is the best way, what's the cheapest way to get a signal from my main house where my Starlink is installed to a remote area on the property? You know, maybe it's 300 feet away, whatever the case may be. How do you get it there? How do you get a Wi-Fi signal there? And I think I came up with a pretty good solution. And I'm gonna be showing you how to install this and how much it can actually cover. This is a TP-Link AX 1800. It's an outdoor Wi-Fi access point. This is designed to be installed outside on maybe the wall of a building, or like I'm gonna do today, actually on an old satellite mount, a J mount. So it's gonna be up on the roof of my detached garage right here. And I'm gonna be doing that because that will give you the best Wi-Fi signal throughout a large outdoor area. My Starlink is installed in my main house. This is my detached garage. How am I gonna get the Starlink router signal to this access point right here? I'm gonna be using another TP-Link product. This is the TP-Link AV2000. This is a power line adapter. Now, if you don't know what a power line adapter is, this is a great way to basically run an Ethernet cable without having to run an Ethernet cable. So a power line adapter runs an Ethernet signal over your house's power grid. So it uses your existing home circuits to run and connect 2 points. So you have a receiver and a transmitter unit. It looks just like this, they're identical. So you plug this into a power outlet where you want to send your Ethernet from, and then you plug the other one in where you want to receive it, and then you connect the devices to the little Ethernet ports right here. So that basically allows you to run a connection, and this gives you up to 2 gigabits per second speeds, and that's perfect. That's basically like running an Ethernet cable. So that's how I'm gonna accomplish getting the signal from a Starlink router to the garage here to hook up to this access point. So let's get started with an unboxing here. Not waste any more time. Show you what we got going on. So we got the installation guide here, and let's start with the antenna. So this is actually a lot smaller than I thought it would be. I was kind of surprised at how compact this unit is. TP-Link is claiming that this can cover up to about 300 meters, and that's about 600 feet of, you know, let's say open outdoor space, which is pretty incredible for this tiny little unit right here. So we're gonna be putting that to the test. We'll see. I'm gonna be doing a range test to see how much speed I could get at certain longer distances, like 300 feet, 400 feet, etc. So this is the outdoor access point itself. It's got a nice little mounting bracket here. It comes with the hardware to be able to mount it maybe to a wall. It's got a bracket, or you can zip tie it like I'm gonna do to mount on the roof. On the bottom here we have the Ethernet input. So this is the PoE input right here. So you can use your own PoE switch if you have one, or you can use the passive PoE injector right here and just plug into a standard wall outlet. You have a grounding plug here as well, and then a reset button to factory reset this thing. So it's pretty simple as far as the actual access point itself goes. The configuration is going to be done on the TP-Link app, so when we get to that, I'll show you that part. Also in the box, you have this passive PoE injector. So it's got just a standard AC power plug on one end. That's how it gets power. And then it takes PoE power. You can hook it up into the antenna from that port. And then the LAN port is how you connect to your router so that this can get a signal, internet signal from your router. This also comes with a wall mounting bracket so that you could easily mount it to a wall inside. This is designed to be mounted inside. This is outdoor rated, weatherproof, comes with a seal and everything. Also, you have, like I mentioned, these zip ties to be able to pole mount it, or you have this wall bracket and the associated hardware to be able to mount it maybe to an exterior wall if you'd like to. The weatherproof kit, by the way, comes with here. This just screws into the bottom. This seals around your Ethernet cable that you're running to this outdoor antenna, and that makes the whole thing waterproof. By the way, the TP-Link AX1800, this is the EAP 610 outdoor model. Got this off of Amazon. I think it's around $130. I'll leave a link in the description below for you to check that out if you're interested in getting this one. And then this is the TP-Link power line adapter. I think it was around $80 for two of them, so you can run a single run here through your power line, and I think that was about $80. Again, I'll leave a link in the description below. And before we get started, I wanted to mention that I'm just going to be reusing this cable that I've already got run here. This is an outdoor rated Ethernet cable, and I had it here to test various Starlink installations, test mounts that I've done previously on this channel. So I'm just going to reuse this existing run, so I don't have to actually do the cable run for this video. But if you're interested, I will put a link to the cable routing kit tutorial that I have on the channel that shows you how I got to here. So let's start by actually mounting this antenna up on the roof. I'll show you what I'm attaching it to, how I'm attaching it, and then how I'm making it weatherproof with my existing Ethernet run. So let's climb up to the roof and I'll check in with you up there. Okay, you join me up on my detached garage roof. I'm up here with a mount that I already had installed. This is a ProxyCast J mount. Got this off of Amazon. I've used this in other installation tutorials and reviews on this channel before. So I already had this here installed, so that's not part of the scope of this tutorial. I'm just going to be reusing it here for this outdoor antenna. I've already got my cable run as well. This is a Starlink cable, by the way, which is basically just a shielded Cat6 cable. It's outdoor rated, so this will work perfectly for this outdoor Wi-Fi antenna. So to install this, pretty simple if you're going to be using on a pole like I am. They give you a couple of zip ties to be able to secure it to the pole. But before we can do that, we need to install the cable using the waterproof system here. So the way that they want you to do that, first you put this little thing on here. Let's see. Actually, it goes cap first. Don't forget that. And then you put this main section here, just slide it right over the cable. Okay, now we can plug it into our TP-Link outdoor Wi-Fi access point here. So it goes right into the bottom. There's only one Ethernet connection. And then there's also an O-ring in here, so I need to grab that. Oh, I actually can't plug it in yet. I've got to put the O-ring on. Okay, O-ring's on. Now I can plug the cable in. Okay, that's secure. With the O-ring installed, I can go ahead and screw this into the bottom. Just making sure not to pinch the O-ring too hard. Let the O-ring do the work, so it doesn't need to be super tight or anything. So that's good. Okay, last thing here is this little rubber seal. It's got a cutout in it, so you can actually insert it over the cable. And then I believe the side with the indentation over here goes to the bottom. And then once you have that installed in the cable, you can push it into this section right here. And then final step here for waterproofing, your end cap screws on. And what that's doing is as you screw it on, it's tightening down on that rubber grommet and making that seal smaller and smaller, eventually sealing it off from water and moisture. So we'll tighten that down all the way. Okay, and now we have a waterproof Ethernet connection into our outdoor Wi-Fi antenna. So now let's install it on the pole here. And the way that they want you to do that is by just using these included zip ties. You just run it through the back here, like so. And then we're just gonna zip tie one at a time onto the pole. Okay, there's one. I'm not tightening all the way down yet because I still have to do the final positioning. Just do the final tighten, and then I'll trim the excess off. And I'll just do some minor cable management here, just making this neater. I actually think I'll come back up here, grab a couple more zip ties and make this a lot neater. But let me take a step back here now that I've got it installed and show you the end result here. So you've got your antenna mounted nicely, it's up high. I can see, my entire yard here. This is gonna give me a great signal, hopefully for the max distance that this thing's rated at. But now let's go back downstairs into the garage, power it up, get it connected to our Starlink router, and get it configured on the TP-Link app. Okay, I'm inside the garage now, and I've got my Starlink Ethernet cable coming in. This is, by the way, remember on the other end hooked up to our new access point, our new outdoor access point. And I've got a power outlet down below. So I'm gonna be able to use this power line adapter to plug in to that power outlet. And it's also got this nice pass-through feature. And I'm gonna use that to plug in the passive PoE injector that goes to our outdoor Wi-Fi antenna. To get a connection from the Starlink router, remember our Starlink router internet comes through this power line adapter, so I need to plug in that to the LAN side of the passive PoE injector. This is going to give internet access to our outdoor Wi-Fi access point. The final connection that I need to make is from the actual antenna itself. This is the PoE cable that gives it power from this PoE injector. So I just plug it in just like that. So I wanted to show you that before I shoved it down here on this shelf where you can't see it, just to give you an idea of how to hook this up. Again, this power line adapter is necessary if you're not wanting to run a cable. If you can run a cable or you are installing this antenna closer to your Starlink router, you might not need this, but these TP-Link power line adapters are super handy for situations like this. All right, so you can see that it's plugged in back there. I've got a green light on. So we've got power to our antenna. I'm not gonna worry about cleaning this up right now. Let's get right into the TP-Link app and set up our outdoor Wi-Fi antenna. All right, so I've got power to my TP-Link antenna that you can see installed up there, and I've downloaded the TP-Link Omada app on my iPhone, and I've already got the Wi-Fi network, so the default Wi-Fi network anyway, popping up, so I'm gonna go ahead and connect to it. And once I've done that, I can go into the TP-Link Omada app, and by default it sends you to this controller mode, and I'm going to set this up as just a standalone mode because I don't have an Omada controller. I'm just using this as a standalone tool. So when I click over to standalone mode, you can see now I have this EAP 610, that's this model. You can see it showing up. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to go through the quick setup. It's going to ask you for a username and password for the administrator. I'm just going to use admin password, super secure stuff right there. Oh, it doesn't like that. Password 1. Let's try that. Yes, I'm going to do AP mode because I'm connected to my Starlink router via a wired connection. So if you're in repeater mode, you can actually connect this to an existing Wi-Fi network and it basically just repeats that. So if you didn't want to do the cable run, or the power line adapters to get a signal to your TP-Link antenna, you could do it in repeater mode, but I'm going to do AP mode. And I'm going to actually name it the exact same name as my Starlink Wi-Fi network. And what that will do is allow devices to automatically connect. So I have my Wi-Fi network as Starlink Gen 3. Got my password typed in, and once you hit apply, it will apply the settings. It says it can take a few minutes, and we're all done here. So like I had mentioned, if you name the Wi-Fi for your new antenna here the exact same thing as your Starlink one, that allows for devices to automatically connect it, assuming that they have your Starlink Wi-Fi information already saved on their devices. But be warned, that can also cause some issues with certain devices that don't like to connect back and forth. And sometimes you could actually get to a point where some of your devices in your home might be connecting to the outdoor access point. So if you don't want that, you can set up a different Wi-Fi name for just your outdoor unit if you'd like to do that as well. I'm at the far edge of my lot. I'm at the furthest distance I can get on my own property away from the outdoor access point that we just installed. And I wanted to show you kind of the before situation. So I actually ran a speed test before I installed this outdoor access point, and this wasn't even as far away as we are now. The Gen 3 router struggled at, between 100 feet or so away from the Wi-Fi router, and I was getting, about 8.5 megabits per second down and about 12.8 up. And as you can see, we're getting the message here, router location, consider moving your Starlink Wi-Fi router to a more central location. That's because the signal was weak there. But what I wanted to do now was test kind of the absolute limit on my own property as far as range goes for this outdoor access point that we just installed. So I'm gonna open up the Starlink app again, and we're gonna do a speed test on the new router. So let's see what we can get. By the way, we're about 170 feet away from this outdoor access point. So 170 feet away, I'm getting 40 megabits per second down and still waiting on the upload here. Looks like about 13 megabits per second up at 32 milliseconds of latency. And as you can see, it's telling me my iPhone is a wired connection, and that is because I have the access point that this iPhone is connected to hooked up wired to the Gen 3 router. You remember we use the power line adapter, so that's why this is showing up as a wired connection. So again, 170 feet away is what we are right now. I'm at the furthest distance away that I can be on my own property. So pretty good result there. Just note, I'm normally getting about 200 megabits per second download speeds from my Starlink connection in an ideal situation. As you go further away from a wireless access point, you're gonna notice those reduced speeds. So 40 megabits per second down at this distance is extremely good. You're not expecting to get, the full 200 or whatever that your Starlink's capable of, especially at 170 feet away. So now let's walk down the road a little bit, because I'm gonna stretch what this thing can do. I'm gonna see the limit at what I can connect to. I think anything over 10 megabits per second is gonna be pretty good. Imagine if you had an outbuilding 200, 300 feet away and you have a security camera. You don't need 200 megabits per second connection speed to be able to run a security camera. 40 megabits per second is perfect. You'll have a reliable connection at that distance, at that speed. So that's really all that we're looking for. Just wanted to make that note here before we really got into it. So let's walk down the road a little bit and I'll check in with you there. Okay, so I'm walking down the road here and I'm about 450 feet away, and I've just lost the Wi-Fi connection. So I don't have a connection at all to our outdoor access point. So the claim of 600 feet or 300 meters, or 200 meters, sorry, of range, not accurate there. I don't have a connection anymore. So I'm gonna continue to walk back closer and see what I can get as far as the max distance. Okay, so we're at about 250 feet now. Still have a Wi-Fi connection, so let's run a speed test, see where we're at 250 feet. So about the same result here, 42 megabits per second down, 30 milliseconds of latency, so still really good there. And it looks like we'll hit about 20 megabits per second upload. So 250 feet, still a really good connection. If you remember previously, I wasn't able to connect at around 300 and a little over 350 feet. So let's try 300 feet, see what we can get. Okay, I'm at 325 feet. So walked a little bit past 300. Let's see what we can get here. Starting to drop just a little bit now, just barely though. Still 35 megabits per second down, 37, 38, and still good latency, 28 milliseconds latency, and we're hovering right around 17, 18 megabits per second upload. So maybe it was kind of a fluke before where I wasn't able to connect. I'm still gonna walk a little bit further, see if we can hit closer to 350, 400 feet. All right, so some final thoughts on this TP-Link outdoor access point. So on my little test here, as I was trying to walk down the road, it seemed like 300 feet is the limit as far as when you can get a reliable signal. Anything over 300 feet, it seemed to be hit or miss. You know, I would drop the Wi-Fi connection altogether from my iPhone, and I couldn't pick it up again until I got well under 300 feet. But I did run that speed test just a little over 300 feet. I think it was like 325 or so. I don't remember exactly, but I was still getting, you know, around 40 megabits per second down and around 15, 16 megabits per second upload at still a low latency. So in my opinion, still pretty incredible. But as it goes to show you, the marketing teams for TP-Link advertising 200 meters, 300 meters of range on this thing, that's not going to be accurate. You're not going to get that in the real world. And that's why I like to do these real world tests, to show you what you can actually expect out of products like this. So just to reiterate, you know, this thing produces up to about 300 feet of Wi-Fi range in terms of outdoors, and that's with trees and other buildings around, so not just open field scenarios. So if you got an outbuilding, maybe you have security cameras on your shed, or maybe you like to use Wi-Fi on your phone out in, you know, workshop or something, looking at YouTube tutorials or downloading manuals, that sort of thing, you'll be able to do that with an outdoor access point like the one I have installed up on the roof there. It's enough speed, enough range to be able to do basic internet tasks. You're not going to get the full speed potential of your Starlink internet connection, but then again, you shouldn't really expect that at that distance anyway. So overall, pretty satisfied with this TP-Link outdoor access point. It has given me Wi-Fi access throughout my entire lot. You know, like I had mentioned earlier in the video, it's about an acre. So no matter where I'm at on my property, I can have a reliable Wi-Fi signal now. So pretty good product overall. Definitely recommend it if you're looking to extend your Starlink signal, your Starlink Wi-Fi up to about 300 feet or so. That's what I found to be the maximum range. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, or if you have your own setup ideas. What are you doing to extend the Wi-Fi? Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you watching. Again, you can find the links to the products that I've used in this video in the description below. Appreciate your support for clicking and buying on those affiliate links, and we'll see you in the next video.